My father started a company that assisted 250,000 businesses worldwide, and we teach companies how to double their sales. And he worked for a really well-known billionaire by the name of Charlie Munger.
Here is your daily dose of the Ultimate Sales Machine, coming to you from the new edition. Visit ultimatesalesmachine.com to get your copy or multiple copies. I am your host, Amanda Holmes, CEO of Chet Holmes International. What you're about to learn has assisted 250,000 businesses to generate billions of dollars, working faster, better, smarter.
Anybody know who Charlie Munger is? Okay. So he doubled the sales for 9 different companies for Charlie within 12 to 15 months, and several of them multiple years consecutively. So he realized that he had this gift for sales and this system for repeatable success. So then he cold called his way into 60 of the Fortune 500, and we've now worked with 80. And our methods have assisted every single industry you could imagine from around the world. And with all of that success, the one battle that he lost was to cancer. So today, I'm not talking about sales, which is interesting. I am going to talk about this journey that has happened from the experience of going through what it's like to have a family disease like cancer, how we came out the other end, and what I've learned along these 10 years, and hopefully embark some knowledge so that you can take home the 5 steps to create a rich and full life, some trends that I have a market data research firm that assists companies to have a more powerful story using market data and story so that you can get more clients. And I took some of our clients' data to be able to show with you today what the status of our health is in the United States. I know we've been hearing it for the last day and a half, but there's some pretty shocking data around it. And then I'm also going to share a letter that I found in my father's emails. See, the only way that I learned my father's business, because I wasn't a part of it before he passed, was by reading his emails. And one night, right before the manuscript was due, I found one where it said that he generated more wealth in 6 months than the prior 8 years combined, and it was because of this one thing. So I'm going to share that with you all today. So the US is spending trillions of dollars on healthcare, and you'd think that we'd be the healthiest nation on earth, and yet the sad truth is we're not even close. In 2021, the US was ranked 69th in the world based on the Health Index score. So this is in comparison to many nations that have similar health systems and population. We have more chronic disease, we have more diabetes, we're double the amount of other nations in obesity, we're 5 times more in cancer. And we spend, on average, $11,945 in comparison to any other average country in healthcare. Switzerland is at about $7,000, you can't tell. Germany is about $6,000, but the average is at about $5,736. So we're spending double than the average, and yet we don't have the health to support it. So the average man, woman, and child in the US have about 14 prescriptions per the 3 of them. 14 on average. During the journey of finding a cure for my father's cancer, we had 2 people on staff going through all of the possible alternative treatments. So we looked at the top 150 best doctors in the world. We studied light therapy, sound therapy, oxygenation therapy. I studied with monks in Japan. And there was this moment, my father spent 2 months in a room similar to this one. It was just a little bit, I think it was about 2 feet more in space, where I came into the room and he was staring out the window and he said, "For all the wealth I've amassed, nothing can buy my way out of here." And I'll never forget that moment because it fueled everything that I've done over the last 10 years. I said all of this because I was trying to make my way through the slides, so I'm sorry. Until I met my mentor, who had said that every disease in the body is just a disease of your mind. And if you can understand yourself on a whole nother level, then illness can actually be cured. And I thought, wow, that sounds magnificent. And at the time I had celiac disease, which was told by the doctors is completely incurable. And my guru, has worked with the Australian government, the Indian government, in natural healing modalities to cure any kind of disease. So I said, okay, whatever it takes, I would love to learn how to cure celiac. For me, I was trying to internalize, I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, where you have emotions and you bottle them inside of you and you stick them in your stomach. Anybody? No. Only saying. So, some people are like, yes, I know. So I was so intense that I had burned holes in my digestive lining. And the smell of wheat would make me nauseated. And if someone had beer on their breath, I couldn't talk to them. I would get sick. And as I'd start to eat food, it would seep out of my digestive lining into my bloodstream, and my antibodies would attack. So I'd become allergic to everything that I ate. And like I said, my guru said that you can actually cure yourself. And I went, that is insane. No Western doctor has ever told me that I could be cured of celiac. They just said, don't eat wheat. And she said, absolutely, I'll show you how. And I went, I will follow you to the ends of the earth to figure that one out. Yes, please. So I went through a 6-week program, and that is me the day that I got cured of celiac disease. I posted on Facebook, I have had 3 muffins, 2 white bread sandwiches, 4 spring rolls, lasagna, 2 bowls of wheat soup, 5 pieces of garlic, and that was only for lunch. There was a series of pictures that my friends would take of me eating wheat products because it was such joy. So what I'm going to cover are the 3 biggest threats that are holding you back from living a healthy and rich life. So the number one thing holding us back from having healthy, rich lives is that we're sicker than ever before in the United States, regardless of the advancement of technology or spending nearly double on healthcare. We're also angrier than ever before. This is a couple years old, but I keep it because it's insane. So this is the amount of mass shootings that happened from 1966 to 2012. Now, US was at 90, and yet the other 4 countries after it didn't even add up to the amount of mass shootings we'd had in that amount of time. In 2016, ABC reported 384 mass shootings, nearly 4 times what we had in the prior 50 years we had in 1 year. In 2016, we had 346. I don't have the updates, but just to give you an idea of when you feel like, wow, are we really going crazy? Yes, there actually is an increase in the anger in our society right now. And it's plagued by our lack of health. So when we are unhealthy, then we experience a lot more emotions, right? We're a lot more angrier because we're in pain and we're reacting. So then we make poor decisions based on our fear and our anger. So 69% of all Americans are worried about the possibility of a recession before the end of 2023. 66% of investors have made an impulsive or emotionally charged investing decision that they later regretted. And most investors agree that their portfolio would be better if emotions were left out of the equation, but that's easier said than done. So how do we solve this health and happiness crisis? Albert Einstein said that everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want. You cannot help but get that reality. There can be no other way. This isn't philosophy, this is physics. Nikola Tesla, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. It can be so overwhelming at times if you think that you have to solve the whole world's issues. It's really nice to know that let's just start with ourselves first. If we can take responsibility for ourselves, then it trickles out. So, what is vibrational frequency? This is a definition by Guruji, my guru. She said, what is a vibration? The energy force field that exists around you at all times. There is a vibrational frequency called your aura, electromagnetic field, your force line. It deciphers at what level you use your brain capacity. It tells you how you're utilizing the functions of your body. Each person's vibratory frequency is controlled by their thoughts. So the patterns that reside within their thoughts, the control panel is in their mind. So what that says to me is that if you can study your vibrational frequency, you can increase your intellect, you can increase your ability to respond to experiences in a positive way instead of letting your emotions take flight in a logical way, and respond so that you can cure yourself of disease. So has anybody ever seen this or a scale like this before where it talks about vibrational frequency and the levels of emotion depending on where you're vibing? No? So at the bottom, at the red, you'll see there's anger, there's greed, there's shame, there's regret, there's guilt. And then as you start to vibrate higher, you get into surprise, glee, acceptance, self-esteem, power, satisfaction, and then as you get even higher into the blue, you get into love, compassion, appreciation, joy, enthusiasm, serenity. So when you raise how many people have heard, oh, you have a great vibe? Yeah. So they're actually referencing your vibrational frequency. So if you raise your vibrational frequency, you have better health, you become a magnet, you have more joy, enthusiasm, even bliss, you live longer, you have better relationships. Because most people experience a chattering mind, lack of fulfillment, anger, depression. Vibrational frequency of our planet is just getting lower and lower, showing just by the mass shootings, right? The anger is at such an all-time high. So how do we raise our frequency and be able to live a healthy, abundant life? When I first inherited the company, I had a couple hundred staff, and they were all double, if not triple my age. I was 24 years old. I was a singer-songwriter. Leads had been drying up in the business. We ran everything through radio ads, and we had to move online, and I had no idea how to do that. I finally got up the courage after firing and hiring different C-suites for the first 2 years to step in as CEO. That was about 8 years ago, which is crazy to think it's been that long. And at that time, I invented a new way to market and sell, but it started because I was having a conversation with my guru, and it went something like this. So I was selling on webinars. I would have me and then 400 CEOs, and I'd be training on how to double sales. And it was pretty shocking to be up there, okay, let's double sales, and I was 26. And I had a day where I didn't really close much business from this webinar. And I came back, and I had happened to see my guru. And she saw that I was upset, and she asked me what was wrong, and I'm like, oh, nothing, everything's fine. She says, no, really, what happened? And I said, I didn't really close much from my webinar. And she's an enlightened being, so of course she didn't know what closing meant. So she asked me, what's closing? I'm like, oh, closing means to win a sale. Close like a vice. And she responded back to me, when life can be lived without pressure and ease, why would you ever want to close a sale and put pressure that only pressurizes yourself and those that you're talking to? Because pressure steals the pleasure from life. What if on these calls you got on and you planted seeds? And if you planted a seed, you'd grow a tree, and that tree would provide so much abundance that you could grow an orchard. Why not that? Thank you. From that moment on, something shifted in my head, and I decided to plant trees instead. And that year, I increased our sales conversions by 1,100%, doubled our clients 2 years in a row from that one campaign, and it was the first time we ever sold anything online. I got written up in ink because at that time, millennial generation was like a dud. Like, nobody thought we'd ever amount to anything. So, wow, one millennial took responsibility. But that letter that I referenced earlier, where I went through his emails and I found this letter where he said, I've had 8 killer years financially, but in the last 6 months, more success has come into my life than all those years put together. My father wrote this. And then he also said, my whole life I've lived in wanting. I've accomplished some things for sure, but I've worked very hard to get them. And because my life was all about pressure, I was never truly happy. Oof. So when we think about the health of our mind, the health of our body, the health of our business, can we just plant seeds?
If you're enjoying the weekly dose of the Ultimate Sales Machine, then you'll love our new community program, the Ultimate Sales Machine Dojo. Because business is more complex, more crowded, more difficult than ever before. 90% of executives believe that we're about to hit a recession. So we have to truly avoid the shiny object syndrome. We can't just wing it in our marketing and sales processes anymore. We have to get hyper-focused and do what works during a no-spend economy. So what would be more enjoyable than spending just 1 hour a week with a group of pig-headed, disciplined, and determined companies that are committed to grow? Because in studies of previous recessions, 91% of companies either go stagnant, decrease, or go bankrupt during recessions versus 9% that actually grow. If you want to be part of that 9%, that's why we've created the dojo. Visit dojo, D-O-J-O, ultimatesalesmachine.com. That's dojo, D-O-J-O, ultimatesalesmachine.com to apply. In just 1 hour a week, you can transform your whole business, taking just a handful of concepts and working to master them with repetition, right? Just like my father taught, like the Dream 100 or the Best Buyer strategy. education-based marketing, time management secrets of billionaires. We dissect the concepts, bring it back for discussion, and workshop the solutions on how to implement it into your company's DNA. This is for CEOs, marketing and sales departments. We want everyone to be on the same page. And not only that, we're inviting professionals that want to use brain power over wallet power, solving old problems with new ideas. If you want to simplify and make bigger bets on fewer things. If you want to be surrounded by that group, all you have to do is apply for the dojo at dojo.ultimatesalesmachine.com. I'd love to see you there. I'm extending my sacred space to a group of like-minded individuals that all want to elevate during a time when everyone else is in panic. We're not. We're just hyper-focused. We've got a roadmap ahead of us that's worked for 250,000 businesses, that's generated over $2 billion for our clients. We know it works. We just have to have the pig-headed discipline and determination to do so. So why not do that in a community? I look forward to seeing you there, if you're willing and able to do something great. Visit dojo.ultimatesalesmachine.com to apply.